The fastest way to double your money is to simply make more of it. There's no doubt about that. If I invest $1,000 and that ends up allowing me to make not just 2,000, but multiple times that, that's pretty damn worth it. Today I have three skills that not only are fairly cheap and quick to learn, but can potentially lead to six figures. So if you don't want to spend years and thousands of dollars at college, maybe consider these. The first skill is one that sits close to my heart because it's something that I considered because I enjoy working out, but that's being an online trainer. The salary on this one varies a lot, but many people have created a structure for themselves and blew very well past 100K. I was reading through Reddit and saw one guy that said he's been making 200K for the past 3 years. But what are some pros to this aside from the money? Well, to start, you can work anywhere at any time. That sounds great to me, especially if it's something you're passionate about. Not only that, but you can also have higher margins because you don't need to pay for any memberships or equipment, and you can just provide better service to more people. Most people already somewhat know what they need to do, and they really just need that little push. So instead of only being able to see a few people in the gym every day, you can text them a workout plan and check in with them in the morning and at night. And you can even create meal plans to send out. I've never used Trainerize, but I've heard it's a really good platform. And you can put in certain guidelines like how many calories you want, how much protein you want, allergens, things like that. And it'll spit out a ton of different meals for you. And you can just instantly leverage your time even more. You can become NASM certified anywhere from around 2 to 6 months. And according to Google, it'll cost anywhere from $900 to $2,700, just depending on the package that you choose. And I know some people might be scared or hesitant at starting a business. You know, a lot of people don't know where to start. A lot of people just think that it's an overwhelming task. But in the wise words of Alex Hormozy, you only really need four things to start a business. You need an LLC. You need to take your documents and get a bank account. You need to use that to set up a payment processor, and then get a stranger to give you money. That's all you really need. It can be as professional or as janky as you want it. I'll say from my personal experience, I work at a mom and pop shop. From the outside, a lot of customers may not know this. Maybe they think we're all amazing and we have our stuff together. To me, sometimes I don't know how the hell we're still even in business. A lot of times it feels like we're hanging on by a thread. But we're doing pretty good. And you can too. So don't get overwhelmed. It's not incredibly hard. All you got to do is obviously do those four things and then just start advertising. The next skill is actually two that I've just clumped together because they're in the same field and have similar requirements and starting costs, but they are becoming a real estate agent or a loan officer. What's cool about both of these is that both allow you to work from home, and you can get either of them done generally in about 8 weeks. To become a real estate agent, with the most basic plans and real estate commission fees, it'll cost somewhere around 13 to 1500 bucks. And to become a licensed loan officer in my state, it takes a little more than $500. Now, I will say these can be polar opposites. I know several real estate agents, some family, some friends, and I've asked them, and they all agree that it seems a lot scarier than it actually is, and they're all happy, they all enjoy what they do. And not only that, but I've heard you can realistically generate somewhere around 90,000 in your first year. Obviously, this depends on your area, but that's pretty damn good to start. With loan officers, I know a loan officer personally, and she jokes that she's a consistent liar because she's a loan officer. And I think there is some truth to that. It can be a very dog eat dog world, and I will actually link this guy's story in the description because he honestly paints a horrific picture. And I saw a couple people say something along the lines of, if you're okay with not getting paid for the first 6 months, then you're fine, or whatever. But I guess what I'd like to say is it can pay off. The loan officer that I know said she hasn't made less than six figures since 1999, and from what I've gathered, it would seem a lot easier to become a real estate agent first, but you can actually do both. So you can start as a real estate agent and then get your loan officer's license. And what's cool about that is not only can you increase your earning potential, but you can control more sides of the transaction and ultimately get transactions that work out even better for you. So the first two, you can start with a little over $1,000 in just a couple months, and you can heavily multiply your earning potential. This last one can vary a lot more, so I think I'll give a little bonus idea afterward. But this next skill pays for two reasons. One, a lot of people don't like it, and two, a lot of people don't understand it. But it's becoming a tutor. Try not to cringe, I swear it can pay off. Tutoring can actually be lucrative, especially if you're younger and you need something while you're in college or whatever you're doing. But I know someone personally who got a tutoring job and started out making $35 to $40 an hour, which I thought was just nuts. The worst thing about being a tutor is that it isn't as lucrative as the other two, as some of the higher paying jobs tend to require the most time and effort to get there. But according to ZipRecruiter, GMAT tutors can make up to $200K a year. That's definitely cherry picking, I know that, but I found some more people on Reddit, and one of them said they know someone doing test prep and admission essays, and they're making around $200 an hour. And another guy said he's doing it himself, and he charges a minimum of $180 an hour. So again, this is a bit of a volatile field, for lack of a better term, but the ceiling can be very high. And if you love doing the subject you're tutoring, then that makes it all the more worthwhile. Since I know tutoring can be hard as hell, I'll throw in a little bonus one. This is less so about developing a new main income source, and more so just kind of a side hustle that can generate a lot of money quickly. But it's doing pop-ups. So whether you have certain skills, like a friend of mine likes to draw a lot, actually Uno Toast Trees, or Uno Toast Tree in the video. He likes to draw. We're trying to brainstorm some business ideas for him. And I have another buddy who has a clothing brand. But you could do pop-ups and make a lot. So my friend that does the clothing brand, he would host pop-ups at the skate shop, and he'd bring racks out, and he'd bring stuff, and we'd have competitions, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of people would come out, and a bunch of people would buy his products because, you know, they wanted to support the homie. And he'd make some pretty good money doing it. So whether you do it at like a skate park like he does, or my local mall has a lot of pop-ups like every Saturday or Sunday on the weekends, you know, you can pull something up. If you're into art, there's a big art show on Virginia Beach. What else? You can go to farmers markets. You can kind of set up shop anywhere you like. If you got something you could sell, just try it. You might have fun. You might make a good amount of money. Again, it's not about replacing your primary income source, but it can be a pretty lucrative side hustle. Anyways, if you've been a fan of the channel, you know I love investing. But if you aren't making a lot with your primary income, then you're not going to be able to invest a lot. I hope you don't mind the slight deviation from my usual stock topics, but I just wanted to throw some ideas out there. The next video will be back to stocks, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned. I hope you got something from this video. If you did, consider leaving a comment, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Other than that, good luck on your investing journey.